share with you how 5G technology will address COVID-19, impact. COVID-19, it seems it's here to stay for a while. So how could we really use technology to enhance our lives, cities, and economy? So here I just want to show you simple introduction. So COVID-19 already killed, sadly, 1 million people. The virus has infected 35 million people so far. Big, dignitary has been infected, from U.S. president to Russian prime minister to Brazilian presidents. So COVID-19 affected the way we work, the way we eat, the way we look for a job, medical advice, we socialize, communicate. So it's really affected everything, and the way we do business. And this is here the purpose of this, conference. Working from home is becoming a norm. As you can see now, Microsoft is allowing remote working for permanently, Google the same. Our company, Ericsson, we are worried about the health and well-being of our employees. So we closed offices until end of this year, and we continue to get updates on how's the progress. Several industries also jumpstart their digitization journey. I mean, everybody was talking about digitization, cloudification, and connectivity. But with the COVID-19, what we have seen, there is a huge growth in digitization. You've seen a lot of examples, restaurants and supermarkets. Immediately, they jump into e-commerce portals, and they have everything ready, over there. Food delivery business, sadly, restaurants lost a bit in this domain, but the delivery business has been booming, growing 70% in this year from last year, and continue to grow on a 25%, delivering everything from food to grocery and to any items. So this is just a small intro on the current status. The agenda, I am an engineer by trade, so I am focusing really as a short agenda. I don't want to take a lot of your time. And if you need more question or more clarification, you are welcome to, ask me. So, or, send me information. So impact on the COVID-19 on the industries. What's the technology has been, doing in this time, because technology, 9 months is a long time for technology. So it is evolving. And how can we use technology to address the COVID-19 impact? So, in our region, just to tell you, because we are a mobile technology company, and we provide networks to our customers, the operators. So we can see around my region in the Middle East and Africa, the traffic in Lebanon, for example, increased 15%. Because there is a lack of Wi-Fi. Iraq has not the same traffic. UAE, it increased, big time, 15%. And that was in the past 2 weeks, so it's increasing every 2 weeks or every month. In, Saudi, it's interesting. It's dropped in weekdays, but on the weekend, it increased. South Africa, with the lockdown, things continue the same. Other countries, they have seen increase. On Morocco, there is an increase of 20% in mobile broadband traffic, and increase in voice also traffic. And that was due to people communicating more with each other and spending more time on the phone. The other thing I want to share with you also, the type of applications that has been growing in this, during this period. So you see COVID-19 application has grew big time, remote working, like the application we are using and others, and e-learning, wellness. Streaming has been like a little bit growing, but not as much. So this is the most, biggest growth, here. And others are really, you see, you're dying, the travel application, the Uber and Careem application, location application, people are not moving as much. And this is a study we have done at Ericsson Consumer Lab, to look at the people aged 15 to 69. So this is where the trend is going. We'll see how it will continue. But if you want to look at the application, this is the hot applications now. VR and AR are growing, but the technology is slow on that, and that really relates to e-learning and education. Here, based on a report that I got from Forrest and Sullivan, there are three categories. So there are industries that are thriving. They are really growing and doing very well. And maybe you know this already. The digital media, the streaming, the telecom or industry, digital services, payment, you can read, and the rest, education. And some companies are surviving because they got really hit. The utilities, the logistics, IT services, pharmaceutical, now they are striving, surviving, sorry. And the one struggling, the tourist and industry and aviation, automotive, the oil and gas, textiles, personal services. This is a huge impact. And this is focused on GCC countries. And I'm gonna just try to address the logistics and others. Here, I would have addressed it with one thing, that the delivery services, they got the city busy with traffic because people stayed at home, and now the only business that you see in the street is the delivery services and the e-retail. So there's some solutions on like fleet management or e-commerce platform from that. But my focus is going to be on the logistics here. So the technology update, I'm just setting the stage, what has happened to the technology. And I would like to share a video just to show you about the latest development. I hope you can hear the volume very well. Sorry. So we have been working on our cellular network and how it will address the technology and the industries. And this is what we have been developing in the past 12 months, and we have launched it with several companies. So why 5G is important? 4G was here. Why 5G is very important to the industry? Because the high bandwidth, the 20 gigabit per second. So 5G is good for the consumer, but really for the industry is more critical. The low latency, now you can do automation with the latency. This is 1 millisecond low latency. You can do remote operation, you can do remote control of vehicles, autonomous trucks and autonomous cars. This is key for them. The mobility, it can work on 500 kilometer per hour speed. So you have it for rails, you have it for even, you will see it in airplanes. And the high density, this is important for cities or factories or any industry. You can have 1 million connected devices in a square kilometer. The peak, for upstream. So this is uploading, data. And this is if you want to have, streaming services from the users. This is very important. Position accuracy, to know exactly where are the assets. So this is up to 1 meter, location. And this is not for outside. Outside you can use the GPS, but inside the warehouses, the closed areas, the areas that are underground, this is very important. The high availability and reliability, very high availability and reliability on the 5G because of the how the technology works. And the sensors, on the IoT sensors that we are using, it's 10 years battery life. So then you can put it and leave it, whether to monitor the water in the river, whether to monitor pipelines, anything. You don't have to worry about the sensors. How IoT journey for enterprise. And the reason I wanted to mention that, because we cannot do everything now. I mean, things are evolving, and that's why I called it a journey. So with the smart city focus and the future, we were able to do NB-IoT, Cat-M1, low-cost, simple devices. And we did assets tracking, we did some data collection from the technology. Now we moved to the VR and AR, which does not require 5G. 4G is enough, Wi-Fi is enough. So you could do inventory management, VR and AR, and even some autonomous gantry vehicles. So this autonomous vehicle, you put them in a path that's all connected with sensors, IoT sensors, and they continue on this path, come back. Not autonomous vehicle. And those require, higher bandwidth, extended coverage, and then some features that we can tweak on the telecom networks, to address it. But then we are in this area now. We are on the 5G, so we have high data rates, we have, low latency, and we can develop complex use cases like remote control. And we have done it in a mine in Sweden. We remotely control the mine, through the cellular network. We remotely manage the crane in a port. I'll show you later. And then when you connect the robotics, so the assembly lines becomes connected, and then you have low latency, so you can change the assembly line work, in a less than a second. So if there's a problem, you want to do some different design or change the design, that's easily done. And this is where we are here so far at 10 millisecond latency. And where we are going, where everybody hears about Industry 4.0 and how you will have like high availability collision avoidance, no more accidents. And we have done a project in Australia with Telstra to have 0 accidents, happening, so the vehicle will not hit pedestrians, cyclists, or each other. And then hear about the advanced automation. Then you can have a factory almost without anybody inside except the programmer, who sets the parameters and leave it working. So this is a great, development. So I wanted to map the 5G and the IoT, how it's happening. Sorry. And how does it impact industry? So here's the telecom operator who has connectivity and infrastructure. They are becoming more as a service enabler, and they are becoming as an application. So this is the operator's role now, the telecom operators, who can help the industry and cities. So there is the remote work for the supply chains. You need remote control, you need flexible, so cabling is not flexible. Cellular is mobile and flexible. You can connect all your assets through that. Performance is high on the 5G. Predictability, you can do very easily predictive maintenance on any of the assets because they are connected. They know how many times they have been used. They know their, heating or vibration. Real-time control, because of latency, you can do that. Automation, and then definitely secure. Currently, some industries using Wi-Fi or using other connected technology that are not secure. And then there are new business models. So all of this, factors can help supporting, the whole industry, transformation. Okay. So now I wanted to dig deep to map them to each other, the impact of COVID-19 and the technology advancement. So here I'm focusing on the logistics and the ports. So 90% of world trade is carried by sea. And looking at the GDP, the global GDP, 59% comes from trade. So trade is very important. What happens on the ports, the oil tankers, the carriers, and the general cars. So ports are very important, and I just wanted to drill down due to the time and the relevance of this, conference. The impact by, again, Frost and Sullivan, we see in the region congestion at the ports. So Port of Dammam and Jeddah in Saudi Arabia were heavily congested because when we did quarantine, we put the workers at their homes and the workers could not move. So that impacted really the ports very much. I mean, you can see the whole thing, but I highlighted some stuff. The warehouse capacities. Again, when people stopped trading and factories in China stopped a little bit, the warehouses got empty in UAE, and in Saudi. So the warehouse owners wanted to really attract users, customers to come because they see that they have excess capacity, but they could not know that in real time. So that was a problem for them because they wanted really. So the first one, congestion, look at it, automation is very important and remote operation is very important. Here, the capacity, you needed real-time information about what's happening in the warehouses, not find out later. Then you can change the tariff and change the rates and increase in logistic cost. They had really surge in certain trade, resulting in increased logistic cost because the delivery, everything got really more expensive during that time, from trucks, from customs, everything, because people were quarantined and working from home, so the workforce was not fully functional. So they really wanted, the ports industry wanted very much how to avoid this, and then the near future and in the complete future. So 3 points: respond, recover, and thrive. So how to respond is by optimizing the resources, which are the assets and the people, and then adopt a digital and IoT solutions to minimize the reliance on people, to look at the warehouses, capacity, and to automate operation. And the automation is really happening with robotics and looking at even the AGVs, I call the autonomous gantry vehicles. Those are the vehicles, guided vehicles. Those are in the warehouses, in the ports, in the oil and gas. So this is key to do this. We looked at the ports and we looked at, on the left and the right, the use cases. But what is the impact of the 5G? Why 5G is really important here? There is the positioning, as I mentioned, connected. So looking at the remote operation, remote control. So this is remote control of these cranes in the port. So it's important for them to have the high bandwidth, to have the low latency, to have the reliability and the security, and so forth. And this is a study we have done with Arthur D. Little and Ericsson. So we looked at this, and things are, moving, and addressing the use cases based on, the network and how it contributes. So the AGVs, those autonomous gantry vehicle, they optimize operation, the operator labor reduction, we can reduce the operators. The surveillance, decrease the cost of surveillance because we did intelligent at the port, and this is wireless cameras, not necessarily wired, and we put some use cases on it also, like parameters monitoring, fire detection, smoke detection. Connected workers, when you have a cellular network, you are able to really connect all the workers so you know where they are, increase productivity because you can guide them where to do workforce management. And the autonomous trucks, this is already rolling out in some ports that reduce congestion and operator, and operation cost. I would just like to share with you another, what our vision for, okay, not this one, here. What we have done in a port in China. So I'll just show you a small video and then we can continue to the conclusion. So I hope you can hear the sound. So you can see the application of the 5G and how we used it in a port. This is the summary of the solution. So we looked at remote control cranes using 5G network. They have 20 plus cameras on every crane. They really needed low latency and they wanted big coverage. So the result, as was predicted by the port, 70% of the labor cost can be saved with the 5G automation. And this is, we have done it with our partners, the crane developers, the port, and our partner, the operator. We have worked with other ports. This is the port of Qingdao, I just showed you. Port of Livorno, we have done a lot of augmented reality and AGVs, remote operation. In the port of Rotterdam, we did assets tracking, and port of Panama, we looked at, gates, some IoT use cases in partnership with them. We are leader in industry transformation, so we have really done, over 40, 50 projects. I just wanted to just mention a few in manufacturing with Mercedes-Benz. The new S-Class factory, called Factory 56, is powered by Ericsson 5G network. E.ON is a startup in Sweden for electric sorry, Eon is a not startup. It's a utility company in Sweden, and we have connected their meters on our IoT platform and connectivity. Airports, we have this, in Sweden also, but also we have Air France that we are connecting 3 airports, providing them with a connectivity platform. With oil and gas, we have connected pumps, and we have even monitoring the pipelines. And last but not least is the mining industry. We have several activities from Papua New Guinea to Australia to others. If you like to read more information, this is public information. We have the 5G business potential, industry digitization, real-time control, and mining. That's all for me. Thank you. If you have questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Amar. It was a great presentation. If there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to unmute your microphones, or you can type in the chat window as well.
If there's no question, I mean, it's good. You can reach
One
me.
thing, some people are confused about 5G. Like, they think there is a health impact of 5G. The radio waves of 5G have more negative impact on health than 4G. So this is a thinking from some people. What do you think about?
I mean, definitely. I mean, I focus on one industry. In the healthcare, we have partnered with a company that they are monitoring diabetes 24/7 using a connected diabetes device. The company is called Brighter. They are using our IoT platform, so all their devices and all their data from the device are being monitored, connected securely to the network, and you can roam globally. And they are planning more services on that, But, as Ericsson, we are a technology enabler. I mean, we leave the creativity of the application and the use cases to the industry experts. So if we deal with a hospital, we deal with doctors, we can give them the bandwidth, we can modify the network as they need, to achieve their goals. So this is for the health sector. For the VR and AR, like, for conference, virtual conference or education sector, which is now a big thing, putting your VR and sitting in a classroom or having virtual meetings. We are working with the VR manufacturers to ensure that those devices are connected 24/7 anywhere you go. So if you are inside the house, yes, you might be on the Wi-Fi, but outside you are on the 5G network, and whenever you move. So as I mentioned earlier, I mean, this COVID-19 drove or accelerated a lot of use cases to become reality as soon as possible.
Perfect. I think Sabi said she has one question. Sabi, can you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you very much for a nice presentation. I joined recently academics from industry. So what I have seen here is a problem that for the 5G, I feel you can better tell me, the 5G, the core, background core is telecommunication. And what I have seen is nowadays, the people and industry talks about the networks and data and connectivity. And so the message that is conveyed to a common person is hiding the basic core of telecom. For example, in our case, no student is right now interested in telecommunications. So what I feel is if it is not like from the technology giants, if they don't have any take care of the what's going on in academics, for the 5G, I think we are going to have a shortage of the fresh engineers and the developers, because people are now focusing more on the the data science and the transformation. And the core technology is, I feel, this is my concern, and I want your opinion on this. How can this can be catered? Thank you.
I mean, thank you, Sabih, for the question. I mean, there are two aspects here. The first aspect, what you mentioned, is how can the academia contribute? And what I mentioned earlier, we are a platform to enable transformation of technology. So when we work, innovation is in the heart of this transformation. And when we do innovation, we work with our telecom partners, telecom operators partner, and with the academia. Because you, as you mentioned, you have the engineers and the brains that really can look at the problems and translate it to a solution. So that's very important. It's a tripartite, collaboration for innovation. And you hear the word innovation a lot, and academia is a big part of it. The second aspect is about the people and the skill set. I mean, there is a change also happening, Sabih, that things are moving, as you know, from the physical to the digital. So even the core is moving to the cloud. And the cloud also, and the core is becoming distributed. So distributed cloud, the 5G core is very complex. And what we are, working with a lot of, again, academia to educate about, how you really learn how to manage the core and how to develop the core, because it's not a simple rack now. It is distributed core. It has orchestration. It has cloud assets. It has, a lot of assets, and it's more complex. I don't know. I mean, again, back to the collaboration with academia, we have a big division, learning division, that have some free courses and some registered courses for students to really join and learn. And we have the internship program also to sponsor students to come for the summer and learn about technology.
Thank you, Amar. It was a great session, and we learned a lot. Thanks for your time. And
my pleasure. Thank you, Hafiz. Take care.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.